Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is June the 4th, 2019. Strong hand, compete, do not complain. Offended by selling, value your wealth in Bitcoin. Unconfiscatable. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin in motion. Deferral gratification. Those last three things are going to be really important for today. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, be in motion, and be able to defer gratification. Check out all the links below. Everything I talk about in this video is linked to below. If you have questions, you have to type in Bitcoin Meister. It turns a different color, and then I will see it in the chat. I can't see your questions otherwise. If you write Adam, if you write Meister, you got to do Bitcoin Meister. All one long word there. Okay, speaking of deferral of gratification, the great VJ, who has been on this show before, a great dude to follow on Twitter. He's linked to below. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TECHBALT. This was before, all you fiat freaks, the weak-handed fiat freaks are going crazy. The people who are familiar with this channel, it's just another day living in the hood, living in the BTC hood, okay? Bitcoin is the ultimate marshmallow experiment. Now, I'm not going to explain the entire marshmallow experiment. Basically, they put little kids, they said, little kid, do you want a one marshmallow now, or can you wait an hour for two marshmallows? And the smarter kids waited an hour for two marshmallows. All right. And so that's what Bitcoin is. There's a lot of you out there, a lot of people, 80% of you out there who can't wait. They can't wait for it to be worth more in terms of fiat. They can't wait till after the halving. They just can't wait. They have to sell when they're impulsive. Whenever a 24-hour period happens, like the previous 24-hour period, they got to sell. They got to do their thing. And so, yes, Bitcoin is the ultimate marshmallow test. This is where marshmallow experiment. This is where the big boys play. And it's no one's fault but yours, your own fault, if you sell it, okay? Take personal responsibility. It's a new counterculture. If you don't want to take personal responsibility, well, then go to the mainstream culture. There are plenty of opportunities for you there to complain instead of compete. Okay, pound that like button. So more on this story. Again, it is just a normal day. Everyone here is familiar with the saying, there'll be days when it goes up by 1,000. There'll be days it'll go down by $1,000 for the fiat freaks. And of course, I mentioned this the other day when Bitcoin soared to $9,000. Well, guess what? It went down to 7,600 or something. Oh, woe is me. No, don't woe is me. It's just a normal day. It's just, keep on doing what you're doing. Buy and hold. Don't worry about those fiat roller coaster days, because they're going to keep on coming. We're going to keep on having turbulence. And it's just a normal day. If you needed that reminder, you're probably new to the channel. But some of the old people, some of the vets here always like to have reminders. So I like to give out reminders. Okay, we already have questions. Who is this? Al KZ says, Bitcoin Meister, everyone is freaking out. But I have my blockfolio set to BTC. I'm actually up in sats today. Good. You keep on getting Bitcoin. And dude, I hope your blockfolio is like 100% Bitcoin, because the whole cryptocurrency portfolio thing. What's your crypto portfolio? Yeah, I've discussed that before. Try to be I know you end up with crypto dividends sometimes when you hold Bitcoin and people give you things for free. But the whole portfolio thing's ridiculous, especially when you get other people to manage your portfolio. Oh, what a CUCK. Okay, Vention says, I could use some marshmallows right now. Dude, don't think of food right now. I know what you're doing right now. This is day 11 of my fast. Yeah, Vention, keep it strong, baby. Strong hand, baby. No, we won't talk about any foods for the rest of the show. I was going to talk about here in my fridge. I don't know if you should. Well, okay, I did. These are good, Vention. Vention, once the fast ends, these are good for you. The coconuts. All right. Sorry, I said I was going to talk about. You've got a strong hand, Vention. You've been around the block, man. That doesn't tempt you. Keep it up, man. You're doing a good thing. All right. Move it. So what else did I have to say here? Oh, yeah. Here we go. I keep reading. This is a tweet. I keep reading that people want a 50% dip or more to buy in. Reminder that on the prior 100x bull run from $200 to $20,000, we had precisely zero 50% dips. Okay, and that's from BTC BAMO. And again, some of you are going to say, wait a second, the price in terms of fiat went down many times. He's talking about once we're out of the bear market, which we are, once Bitcoin, and you can look back to see when bear markets ended in the past. When bear markets have ended in the past, on the way back up to a new all-time high, it has never went down 50%. So again, there's tremendous turbulence though. It's going down like 30% and stuff. But come on, people. I've shared this story before about there's not much difference when you look back at the past between $800 and $700. Okay, so people waiting to get back into the game, you're going to look back one day, and if you didn't get back in the game, you're going to regret it seriously that you were worried over $1,000 or over $500 or whatever it may be. But yeah, there will be major dips, and for the rest of there were a lot of people that all of a sudden were getting very excited about 2019, very excited. And we're still not into having hype territory. We're still not there yet. So there's some people like 10,000 is our destiny for this summer or this fall. It might not be. It might not be. Again, just value your wealth in Bitcoin. Get more Bitcoin. Don't worry about if it's going to be 10,000 next month or at the end of the year or whatever. The halving hype will start hopefully in December, maybe not until January, and then you'll start to see some interesting things. I refer you to the beginning of 2016 if you believe in the 210,000 block theory, which has been discussed on this show previously many times. And so the SEC is suing a ICO. I'm not even going to name the ICO. I linked to a tweet about it. I really don't care that much about it. You should pound that like button though, because Adam Meister is not an ICO guy. God, was that a big, try to remember all the people that were into ICOs and then try to forget them. But so the SEC is suing some ridiculous ICO. And what happens is that people interpret that to mean, oh, the government is against all cryptocurrency. The government is against Bitcoin. This is bad for Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be surprised if this fiat drop is weak hands thinking that this has something to do with Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Now, again, government intervention into cryptocurrency, it can be interpreted as a very negative thing. And, you can see why people would, stop buying Bitcoin on such news. And no, that's their prerogative. But I'm here to remind you that SEC suing, and again, they're going to sue more ICOs. So again, there'll be more of this probably. And it reminds you that Bitcoin is not centralized like an ICO. An ICO has people you can sue. It has guys who created it that you can track down and sue and threaten and scare and take their money and shut down. That's not Bitcoin. It's totally different. But some people are going to confuse. And I will say this. I think ICOs will morph into something else eventually that all companies will issue something like an ICO. Right now, a company goes public, it's an IPO. And you have to buy it on the stock market, and there's all sorts of complications. I think cryptocurrency will revolutionize that. The government probably will play a role in it. You'll have to have an officially approved ICO. They're already going in that direction. Again, this is where the big boys play. If people want to do things like that, then let them do that. Let them play with the government and everything like that. That's not my thing. My thing is Bitcoin. But it was this past back in 2017, it was the wild, wild west out there in terms of ICOs, and again, 90% of them became nothing, and maybe more than that. But they took your money and they ran, and they could do that. And some people think this is the beginning of the end for ICOs. And maybe it's the beginning of the morphing into something else. I don't know. But again, it's a reminder to show you how centralized they are and these things can happen. But it is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not being sued by the SEC. Bitcoin can't be sued by the SEC. A lot of people do not know that, though. A lot of people don't understand that. And yeah, fine. They'll learn eventually, and we'll have days like this. So Just Sat says, Bitcoin Meister, what do you do for entertainment while traveling? Any books or shows you're into? How about favorite YouTubers? I don't read books. Don't have time for it because I do not watch any TV at all. I read many articles, and I do have favorite YouTubers. You watch my Friday show. The people that are on the This Week in Bitcoin show, those are my favorite YouTubers. You know, guys like Vortex, BTC Benny, and you know, I don't watch them all the time, but the guys that I have on my show are my favorite. Or on the Friday show are the people that I read, that I listen to, that I think are very legitimate, that I think you can learn from. So when I'm on the road, which is all the time, that's something I do. But I also listen to Ben Shapiro. I listen to some political related things, philosophical related shows. And you're on Brooke. I discuss that type of stuff on my Saturday show. So if you want to know some of the beyond Bitcoin people I listen to and watch and read, that's a Saturday show too. So you can. But again, what else do I do for entertainment? I am a health nut. I love to go running. I go running 20 miles a week, depending what city I'm in. So, I mean, I visit people that I know through Bitcoin and through real life from my past also, depending where I am. I just hung out just on Sunday with a guy that's been following me for quite some time here on YouTube. So, yeah, do healthy activities. I work out. And a lot of, yeah, so that's my fun, all healthy type of stuff. And I discuss other fun things I do on Saturdays. I don't go to bars anymore. I don't eat out at all. I make my own food. I love to cook my own food. And so that's a fun thing I do also. So yeah, tune into my Saturday show if you want to know more about that kind of stuff. But thank you very much for the question. And again, Friday show is, you know, my favorite YouTubers, my favorite writers in the space. And they are all really good people. There's only been a few times I've regretted having people on in the past because, you know, some people do change and stuff. And some people you don't fully understand when you originally have them on your show because you learn more about them. Anyway, Roman Q said, Bitcoin's price just changed from 1 BTC equals 1 BTC to 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. I have never been less worried. Yes, it's just a straight line, dude. Yes, of course. Pound that like button. All right. Now, what else do we have here? We said BTC, SEC we talked about. We will talk about all right. Wait, let's do a question here. When Bitcoin Meister cooking show? You know what? You never know. There was a time when I pulled out the fish head. Well, sometimes I pull out the foods that I eat, you know. I'm gonna, you know, here, this is part cooking show. You see, I have some broccoli. I eat one intermittent fasting. That's something I do for fun. I know that doesn't sound fun for a lot of people, but yeah, so my one meal a day will be coming in 3 hours or so. So this is part of it. I have some of it set up. I like to set up the meal, to prep the meal. It takes time to prep the meal. It takes a little bit of time. Oh, crap. Okay, enough. I hope I didn't get water on my cheap laptop. You know that water and cheap laptops don't go well together. Pound that like button. Us young college guys are doing whatever it takes to stack as many sats as possible before 2032 halving. No bars, no eating out. We'll treat ourselves later on. 1, 2, 3, no scope. That is a great attitude to have. God, sorry, Vention. I didn't mean to show you the broccoli. But again, that really shouldn't make you crave food too much, because broccoli doesn't taste very well. All right, dude. Keep on going, Vention. I won't talk about food at all. The questions led me in that direction, dude. I'm sorry, man. All right. But watch Vention's channel. He's got some good stuff. He's fighting the good fight over there. And all right, one day, here's a prediction for you. So people like Mark Cuban or someone that's an equivalent of him in a different country, they're getting aware of cryptocurrency, and they see these altcoins in the top 10, and they're like, well, wait a second. 2 of the altcoins in the top 10 were forks of Bitcoin, and they were like produced by dudes that are questionable at the very least. Like I'm not questionable like those dudes. I'm a rich billionaire. I should try to do something like that. What's stopping me? Now, again, if you're in the United States, something might be stopping you. But again, if you're in China or if you're in South Africa or you're somewhere else, some of these well-known billionaires, they're gonna think twice now. Once they wake up to see, like, wait a second, we've got some, if you fork off a Bitcoin, you've got to, and you call it something Bitcoin, and you're rich, you've got a good chance of getting a coin in the top 10. Why not do that? Why not do that if you can do that? So I think, and again, now Facebook coin is not doing that, but I think there are going to definitely be people that, I mean, they look like, well, King of the Trolls did it. Jim Jones did it. I mean, I should do it. I should fork off a Bitcoin, make my own Bitcoin. We'll see it. And maybe they will make it in the top 10. And good for them. Compete. Don't complain. Let them do that. Let them fork off a Bitcoin, and we'll be given free crypto dividends because of their big egos. Yeah. So we're talking about ego coins, ego forks of Bitcoin, ego crypto dividends of Bitcoin that could end up in the top 10 because some of these guys with the big egos are like, I'm bigger than those two dudes that did this. I better give it a try myself. All right. And again, you got a better shot of making the top 10 by forking off a Bitcoin and calling it something Bitcoin than just making a random altcoin based on your big ego and not giving it away. They'll see that. We'll see how that. I want it to happen. Again, I like getting crypto dividends, and if some rich billionaire wants to, make his ego even bigger, good for him. And I'll profit off of it and turn it into Bitcoin. And again, that's just your daily public service announcement that if you hold Bitcoin, you get interest on it, you get crypto dividends on it when people do airdrops, when people do forks off of it, if you properly store it. And again, Mimblewimble coin, MWC.MW, that's coming up. People ask the MWC people questions about that, but that is a airdrop that Bitcoin holders will be getting soon if they sign up before July the 19th, I believe the day is. That day is. And I will be in Israel by July the 19th. And we're going to talk about Israel in a second. Here's another prediction I have. There's a lot of altcoins out there that have died. Well, have gotten close to death. I mean, they were worth millions and millions of dollars, and now they are worth less than $1 million. And people are, they're dead, but they're still being mildly traded in different mildly traded. They're still being traded in different on different exchanges, whether they be very rather small exchanges. Some of them are at. But here's the thing. Some of them were big once. Some of them had some hype once. Some of them had fan bases once. I predict there will be crypto vulture capitalists, okay? Crypto vultures, all right? Crypto vulture capitalists, guys, and maybe some of them will come from the traditional financial world. They're going to see these altcoins and are now worth the whole market cap is $500,000, $100,000. And they're going to try to buy up as many as possible and then turn on the marketing machine, get them on some exchanges, hype it up, and then all the old followers will wake up and some new ones will, and they will just dump that stuff, and they will just do incredibly well. All right? This is something that we have not seen yet, but it will happen. It will. So they'll turn these so-called public blockchains, they'll make them pretty private. They will form conglomerates that will buy up as much as possible, and that they have the way majority of the coins on them. And maybe they'll buy up the miners too. They'll start mining it. So it'll become pseudo-private, but then their plan will be to do it secretly, buy it up secretly, and then leak it out that this rich entity bought up most of X coin out there, and everyone will I got to get a piece of that now. And the small amount that'll be listed on exchanges, then they'll buy it up and then they'll dump it. You get the picture. I don't need to go into depth. But yeah, this is where the big boys play. So let people try to do things like that. Some people will fail at it, but there will be some successful crypto venture capitalists out there. Crypto vulture capitalists. Let's just call them crypto vultures that'll come plunging in there and buy up all those almost dead coins and rehype them. Remember, disruptmeister.com, 1,300 Meister Bitcoin-related shows are there. And remember, this show, Crypto Dividends, it's insider information. So much, it shouldn't be insider information what I talk about here, but many people are just into ICOs or in the altcoins. They don't know the Bitcoin basics. They don't know the glory of deferral of gratification and all the benefits that Bitcoin gives you. Oh, here we go. This is a good question. Roman Q says, who is the one person you would like to interview, talk with that you have not yet? Who is the one person you would like to be interviewed by? I would like to interview Andreas Antonopoulos. That's the one person. That's the one person I missed. I haven't had the opportunity to do it. I haven't had the opportunity to meet him. So he's the one, but I think he is great. He is great for the space. So yeah, I'd love to have him on the show. That's who would I like to be interviewed by? Who would I like to be interviewed by? I would like to be interviewed by Joe Rogan. Because I would go, that would be my opportunity to just put all my energy out there into Bitcoin. Some people would be like, what is this Bitcoin? Who is this dude? And I want to and let them wonder who this dude is. But a lot of people are like, this guy is like high on Bitcoin. I got to get into this thing. But there'd be a lot of people that would be turned off. They were like 80% of the people would be like, oh, this guy's a spaz. This guy's a freak. Why'd you have him on the show, Joe? But there would be plenty of people. I think I could give some, because I do give some Bitcoin energy out there, and I would love to give it out on a really big platform like that. And as I said, I think the Joe Rogan show, I said this on my Saturday show, I believe I said, again, watch the Beyond Bitcoin show, that it's the border between the mainstream and the 20%ers. And it's a good play because there are 80%ers that watch the show for ludicrous stuff, but then there's some 20%ers that watch it because you can learn stuff on it too. So I think it'd be, and again, if it's not me, let it be another Bitcoin person, but let there be a pure Bitcoin person on that show. I think it would be huge, because a lot of times when someone goes on the Joe Rogan show, it starts to make mainstream news too, which is great. And again, if it makes mainstream news, a lot of most people still won't wake up to it, but a lot will. And again, here, 1, 2, 3, no scope. You misinterpreted something. Your question is a good question, but it's a misinterpretation of what I said. He says, "Do you still plan on spending some of your Bitcoin after the 2020 halving?" And I have never said that I was definitely going to spend Bitcoin after the 2020 halving. The earliest possible time I would spend Bitcoin, that I would sell Bitcoin, is after the 2020 halving. It doesn't mean after the day after 2020 halving, I'm going to spend Bitcoin or I'm going to sell Bitcoin. I'm offended by selling. Pound that like button. I'm still going to be offended by selling the next day. I don't need to sell Bitcoin. I'm a long-term thinker. I save cash. I have cash coming in. And of course, I spend my cash before I spend the real money. So I see no change in doing that. I mean, God forbid something horrible happens to my family. Of course, I would spend Bitcoin. God forbid something like that happens. Of course, but again, I'm prepared quite well because I don't spend frivolously. I'm very good at saving, and I have cash to blow. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, I'm sitting comfortably on a cash stack, and it does not dwindle very fast at all. It does not dwindle. It does not go down in numbers. But no, I do want to clarify that again, because a lot of people are like, Adam's going to spend. He's going to spend his Bitcoin right after. No, I would love not have this. It's my savings account. It's my savings account. I'd love not to be able to get into my savings account until after 2024. And you know, the original teaching of me saying that, you know, the earliest possible time that I'm going to spend a Bitcoin would be after 2020 halving, was to introduce people to the 2020 halving concept, to the halving concept, and to get people to just to think of a date. Because back in the day, people just would spend their Bitcoin and they would have no anchor in the future to anchor onto, to like just say, okay, I'm not going to spend until after this date. And so I gave a logical reason for people to hold until at least this date. And because of what has happened in the past, and you decide then, was it worth it to hold? And maybe you will have become a stronger hand by then. All right, and learn about what it means. The new supply is getting cut in half on that guy. Here is a question, but thank you for the question, of course. Fellow world citizen said, Bitcoin Meister, what's up with the meat-eating jokes in Bitcoin? I've seen it many times, but I don't get it. I do eat meat, but what is wrong with a vegetarian? Well, there can. I'm not going to get into the discussion of what is wrong with a vegetarian because there might be something a little wrong with it. But eating vegetables is fine, and eating meat is fine. Eating a lot of things is fine. Eating fat is fine. Now there are certain. I've talked about this before in Bitcoin because it's a big space, it's a diverse space. Anyone can get in it. This is where the big boys play. There are little cliques, and sometimes people, they take it to an extreme. They have the hobby that they bring into Bitcoin, and then they kind of intertwine it with Bitcoin. And then some people take it to a whole new level where it's like a cult within Bitcoin. And so some of the meat people took it to that level. They took it to that level almost. And again, it's healthy. I'm glad they're eating meat, but you don't have to eat meat to be in Bitcoin, okay? You don't have to be a meatitarian, and you don't have to, and the thing is, Bitcoin is an outside of the box type of thinking community. So currently in mainstream society, to go on these all meat diets, that's outside the box type of stuff. So I mean, there's definitely an overlap there, and so there you go. So it's not a joke, but people do take it to an extreme. Oh God, yeah. And again, someone don't bring up food. My questioners, Vention is on a very important fast right now. This is hilarious. This is funny that the one day that food is constantly being brought up on the show, we got Vention trying to not eat any food. Vention, drink some water. Water is great. Anyway, and I just saw this guy said, "What do you think of a raw vegan diet?" I don't think it's a good idea. You didn't type in Bitcoin Meister there either, dude, but I happened to see that. Okay, so two links that you should check out. This guy is Crypto Quotation. He's on Twitter. Every day he has a new crypto quotation. There's some pretty good ones that you can use, share with your family. You can retweet. He makes them look fancy. He likes fancy sets and graphics, I guess, but some people like that stuff. And then an alternative to Shapeshift that I've been told about that appears not to have KYC, changenow.io. If you have some altcoin, God forbid, that's where you can turn into some Bitcoin there, and there might not be any KYC. People, have any of you used changenow.io? It is linked to below. Tell me about the lack of KYC if this is really happening. From what I gather, there is. So because now a lot of people like to use Shapeshift, and there's like the whole KYC thing to it now. From what I've never used Shapeshift because I'm not a big Eric Voorhees fan. But and I really never had to do that because I don't have many altcoins. I can't. There's the altcoins that I have are not plentiful because people have given them to me over time, or I've obviously gotten the crypto dividends, et cetera, et cetera. All right, what do we have? So we talk about. I said I would talk about Israel. That it's linked to below. There was a major legal triumph at the Israeli Supreme Court today for bits of gold, Israel's largest Bitcoin changer, which I guess is like, anyway, as a prominent commercial bank concedes its attempt to halt banking services for the company. So the Supreme Court basically said it was illegal for a bank to discriminate against this Bitcoin exchange. And so now the bank, they have access to their cash. So this is good. This is good for Israel. I know the guys behind Bits of Gold. They basically are the same people who do the Bitcoin embassy there. So Udi, thank you. Udi tweeted that out. I look forward to seeing everyone at the embassy in July. And that's good news for Israel. It's good news for Israel that the fiat freaks will be able to buy Bitcoin and sadly sell their Bitcoin too. That they shouldn't value their wealth in shekels, but some Israelis do value their wealth in shekels. They should value their wealth in Bitcoin, just like everyone in the world, has that common should have that common valuation going on. And there was something else I wanted to say about Udi. I thought there was something else he tweeted out there. I hope I'm not skipping anything. All right. Last thing, I said I would talk about Litecoin. And here's something from Bob McElrath, and it's linked to below. Unpopular opinion. Litecoin is useful as a second asset to demonstrate cross-chain atomic swaps and non-custodial decentralized exchange tech. Other than that, it's identical to Bitcoin, which is what makes it useful here. Continuing to be identical is its challenge with no devs. Litecoin doesn't have any debt. Well, excluding that second part of the quote, it did make me think, like, Litecoin is the go-to second coin to use when you need to have a second coin to demonstrate a new Bitcoin technology. Because he just talked about some Bitcoin technologies, cross-atomic swaps, where you need a second coin. And Litecoin is the best one to use to demonstrate that it's possible. And so there are going to be other technologies in the future where you need a second asset, where you need a second coin to demonstrate the new technology that is being built with Bitcoin. And there you go. Litecoin, that's a use case for Litecoin. So that's beyond the whole testnet thing. It's the go-to second coin when you need a second coin to demonstrate some new technology. So, hey, there's a positive. Now, again, that's not me saying to buy Litecoin. It's me saying that it's going to, that's a reason why it will remain alive and why it will remain a top tier altcoin. And yes, I believe that Litecoin is a top tier altcoin. I've said it a few times right now. All right, guys. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. I hope I didn't skip anything. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below. Pound that like button. Bang that bell button if you need a reminder when we go live. I do a new show here every day. Friday is what's it called? This Week in Bitcoin. And click on those squares if you are watching this tape to see my old show, disruptmeister.com, all the old shows. Bye.